Oh, you've got to go before 9 minutes past.
Okay. Hello and welcome. Oh, my voice was going then. Hi. I have got a voice. Thanks for watching, everyone. And hi, if you're watching the replay, do say hello. Let us know you're here. Tonight's disc comes up, so join us, post your questions in the comments, and let's see what comes up. So, Anita's joining us as well. So, she's coming through. And we've got Joe here, obviously. You can see Joe in the group. Hi, Anita. How are you?
Hiya. I'm fine, thanks. Shane, you?
Oh, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I think I've got a slight delay on my...
A delay.
Yeah, I've got a slight delay again, I think, when I'm talking from what you can hear.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're live and tonight is just Q&A. So what do you fancy talking about tonight?
Ooh,
any questions, anyone, or any topics of discussion?
Wow, there's a lot going on at the moment, isn't there?
Anything. Well, we started last week, didn't we, talking about... There is a lot going on. What's been going on for you? What have you found? Here's Anne.
Well,
Hi,
I mean,
Anne.
obviously with the change of monarchy and
so
I mean, obviously that's a big thing because obviously there's, everyone's sort of involved with that, and aren't they? And here's Jen as well. So I mean, and today I've just taken my 2 little kittens to be neutered, so they're currently running around with Elizabethan collars on. Puma's pulled his off twice, so they just need some Reiki just to calm them down, because I don't know what the anaesthetic's done to them, but oh my lord, they've come alive.
Has he not knocked them out?
No. Yeah, it's not as just bear me a sec. I'm going to have to just go to the door. Just one moment.
Oh, we've got somebody watching from Spain.
Claire's in sunny Spain today, so she can't join us live. Yeah, it's Claire.
It just says Facebook.
I'm going to I'm just going to leave the studio and then come back in, because that'll correct it. So yeah, I will be back shortly.
Is that Ribena in your glass, Mama Jen?
It's Diet Coke with lemon. Yeah, pure and simple. We've had a bit of a mad day.
Why?
We've been having problems with the kitchen taps. And we couldn't get anybody to fix it. We finally got somebody to do it today. We've tried washers and everything else, but anyway, it's finally done it. And so I've had 5 minutes to eat my meal.
Oh, wow. I hope that's better.
It's a bit glitchy. It's Mercury in retrograde at the moment, though, so.
It is, yeah. Well, if it gets too bad, I'll just mute myself and listen to you guys.
So, has Anne got any questions? I know Anne's watching. Claire's got any questions or any topics she wants to talk about from Spain?
We did start last week talking about dreams, but then it was quite funny. I don't think you were with us last week, Joe. It was quite funny because during the day I'd had a nudge to talk about mediumship, and we'd planned to talk about dreams. So I thought, we can do mediumship another day. We'll do dreams tonight. And I started talking about dreams, and then a question came through about mediumship. So we were talking about mediumship anyway, because as you know, Spirit has its way of letting you know what they want to talk about. So maybe we can just carry on a little bit more of a chat about dreams, because I think that's a fascinating discussion. And a lot of people don't really realise just how how much you can learn about yourself and your situation from dreams.
Yeah.
So, what are your experiences of dreams, Jo? Do you dream a lot? How do they help you? What sort of dreams do you have?
So I have two different types of dreams. I'll have a dream where it's basically my subconscious talking to me and trying to make me aware of something. So it will create a scenario to try and bring an issue to the surface. And they're usually really bizarre and they're really hard to make sense of. It's not just like laid out nicely for you. And then I have another type of dream where it is spirit communication, and somebody will come in and visit, and I'll have a whole conversation with them in my dream, but it'll be vivid. It'll feel like I really woke up in the middle of the night and was talking to somebody and having a conversation.
Wow.
So those are the main types that I have.
Yeah, do you have that a lot?
Not a lot. Normally when there's something going on. So it's not like every night. But if I've got a major decision to make, or if I've not been well, or like the energy at the moment that there's so much going on, then that's when it's more active.
Anne's just posted that she can never remember her dreams, just the nightmares. But even nightmares, quite often, they've got a message for you. When you start to analyse what's happening and why it's happening, you can sort of see and relate it to a situation that you're going through. And once you understand that situation, that can then help you work towards changing it a little bit. So even the nightmares are useful.
That could be a subconscious bringing up a fear that she's got. If she's got a fear that she might not even be conscious of, then her mind will create a scenario like mine do to just bring that issue to the surface.
Yeah, and nightmares, are they like shadow work, Jo? Because we've spoke about shadow work, haven't we, on our calls?
You're going to take more notice of something that's not very nice than you are of something that's lovely, aren't you? You're going to really remember it more if it is something a little bit shocking. So they get your attention. It gets your attention more.
Yeah, definitely. Jen, what are your experiences with dreams?
I don't dream a lot. I have nightmares. If I have any. They're always dark. The buildings are dark or derelict. I could be trying to find my way home in the car. I could be trying to find my car because I don't know where I parked it. I'm lost more than anything. Yeah, they're not very nice. It's not every night. Might be once or twice a month. But I don't have really lovely dreams. Which I did.
But there's a theme there, so they all have the same theme, don't they?
Yes.
They're all about the dark and being lost.
Yeah, and also where I've worked. People I've worked with.
So what's your biggest fear in life?
Mine, I think being on my own, being left on my own. I'd say that's the biggest one.
Left on your own in the dark?
No, in general. No,
yeah, but so you need to look at your dream as symbolic. So the symbolism of being left alone, what would you think that looks like? For me, it would look like being lost in the dark and I'm on my own and I've got nobody around, and it's to look at the symbolism behind it. So it's trying to make your subconscious is trying to make you aware of that fear so that you can work on. So as Mel said, it's all about your shadow work. So it's about working on that fear and delving deeper into why you're afraid of being on your own.
Yeah.
I find if you start looking up certain things, because a lot of these trends, so things like dream meanings about getting lost, dream meanings, journey, things like that, that sort of started my interest in dreams because I was having a lot of vivid dreams. So I just looked up a certain aspect of it and find out. And from there, usually they give quite a broad range of things that it could be. But as you start to look at them, certain things sort of jump out and start to make sense. And as the dreams are recurring, you start to sort of make sense of them yourself, you know, based on what you've read, and you start to spot the trends and everything, and it tells you something more about you. So, which is really helpful. And it is that shadow work that, you know, we did with Joe a few weeks ago, where it's facing that side of yourself that needs to heal.
Yeah.
So your dreams can actually really help you do that. They can be really beneficial for that. I know Anne says she quite often wakes up shaking and scared. And that's the same again. I'm just looking at what is causing it. I used to have, I tend to have a lot of dreams around houses. And I noticed at one point when I was having dreams about houses, I would never go into the cellar. But when you look at dream meanings around houses, each room symbolizes something. So the attic is what's going on in your head. The front room is what's happening with your relationships and your living arrangements. You know, your kitchen could be around your health and your food and nutrition and things like that. But the cellar is quite often going into your subconscious. So what I realized when I was having all these dreams and I wouldn't go down the cellar, it was like I was looking down the cellar from the top of the stairs as if I wanted to delve into it, but I was too frightened to take that step and move forward. But then when you start realizing that and you start building on that, I think the last time I dreamt about a cellar, I went in it, you know. So I moved forward that step. So it's really quite fascinating, the different things. And I've had lots of dreams about being on a bus journey trying to find my way home, and it's taken me all around the houses and never quite gets me there. And you know, to me, that's symbolizing that I know I'm on a journey, but I've not fully figured out where the final destination is yet. Although I want to, you know, I've not quite got there. So it's like reading tarot cards, really. When you're looking at the pictures and you're looking at the symbolism behind everything, you can really untangle quite a lot about what's going on in your dreams. So how about you, Anita? What are your dreams like? We touched on it a bit last week, but I was saying how spirits had other ideas about our topic last week, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I'm a lucid dreamer, so I can, from a very early age, was able to get involved in my dreams, even though I'm actually asleep. So actually changing the outcome of the dream as well, which is, you know, I think it's quite unusual. So what would happen is I'd be dreaming and I'd come to the outlook of it at the end of it. And if I didn't like the outlook, then the dream would then carry on, but then change the outlook of it. So, it's always in really vibrant colour. You know, and like throughout the day, what I'll do is, if I've had a dream where there's a lot of content in it, I will, when I wake up, I will jot it down, and then throughout the day, bits of it actually comes back to me. So it's like that bit relates to this bit. So obviously throughout my day, it could be, you know, I could meet someone that actually triggers something that was in the dream, you know, that sort of thing, which is obviously a bit like premonition or precog, isn't it? So yeah, it's fascinating because me too. I'm you know, I've always been sort of like dream analysis and interpretations and whatever you want to call it. And it is about your subconscious. So I used to have a lot of nightmares as well when I was younger. And like you said before, you know, normally a bit more dark, and, you know, wake up and you'd be shaking and sweating and sometimes in tears, you know. And it is about fear. It's about losing that fear. And it's difficult because you've got to work on yourself. I mean, one that I used to have was, I used to be bullied when I was a child. And I always remember I used to live with my nan, with mum and dad, obviously, in the house. And I just remember floating downstairs, like flying down the stairs, flying outside the door and flying away from all the bullies. And then obviously for me, that is about, you know, that you're able to sort of disconnect from them. You are free from them. It's how you know, we go through life and we learn things, don't we, as we go on. So, you know, when you're younger, you don't always appreciate, you know, what you had in your past, you know, obviously with your family, how you brought up, until you sort of like the age I am now, and I've sort of gone back and there's been a lot of healing and what have you. And it's quite nice to be able to sort of reflect and have that reflection. And like Jo said before, the shadow work that you do. So, you know, you've got to sort of learn to disconnect from all the terrible things that, you know, you've been through, and get that healing, because that is about your fear, isn't it? It's about holding on to something, but you need to release it. So by releasing it, it does make you feel a lot better in yourself, and it gives you a bit of confidence as well, which is what it's all about, isn't it?
When you say release it, how would you release it?
Well, there's different methods, isn't there? So, you know, if you do it for me, perfect timing is meditation. So what you do is you bring forward what your fear is and ask, you know, the angelic realm, or you can ask spirit to come and help you to release those negative thoughts and those negative feelings, those negative outcomes that have happened in the past, and to help you to bring healing to yourself. So there's different ways you can do it. You can, you know, use Reiki. Reiki is really good for past trauma and emotions. You know, it's whatever it sort of works with you. You know, you could go for, I mean, you could do past regression. You know, there's lots of different ways of doing it. And it's just working on you, isn't it? It's giving yourself more time to sort of focus on you, because your wellness is not just about your physical wellness. It's about your emotional wellness, your spiritual wellness. You know, so it's the whole thing, isn't it?
I'm interested. Sorry, go on.
It's just weird that you can't stop it. I mean, if you're in the middle of a nightmare, you either have to wait till you wake up. You know, it's hard to think, oh, I must do this in the middle of a nightmare.
This is related to my question, actually, because I'm interested in the link between controlling that, working on that shadow and work in your sleep and lucid dreaming. I had a nightmare last week. Well, it wasn't a real nightmare, but it was a bad dream and I wasn't comfortable. And I woke up and my instinct was, Archangel Michael, please make sure all the protection's around me and get rid of any negative energy. And then I went back to sleep and the dream continued for a little bit, but then it went into a lucid dream. And in that lucid dream, I controlled the ending and made it more acceptable to me. But I don't think it's because when I woke up and I reflected, I don't think that dream was because it was an actual nightmare and there were negative energies around. I think I was meant to have that dream. I think I was doing the shadow work, and with calling in Archangel Michael, I think he enabled me to cut the ties so that I was able to then sort of control my fears around it. But then, like I say, it went into the lucid dream, which is my question now. When you go into lucid dreaming and you're controlling the outcome, is that as you're sort of controlling the shadow self, as you're bringing it from the subconscious into the conscious, even though you're still asleep?
So what you're doing is helping yourself. I mean, Jo will tell you, because obviously she's done a lot of work on this, but it's about you taking control of what is actually going on. So allowing your feelings and emotions to, you know, to work. And obviously, like you mentioned before, you work with the angelic realm. The angelic realm will help you to heal. So it is a healing process, believe it or not, what you've actually gone through.
But the more you heal in your waking hours, the less you will have those types of dreams when you're sleeping. So it's not necessarily about, you mentioned like, oh, I can't stop the nightmare midway through. Have I got to wait? But if you did the work in your waking hours, you're less likely to have that nightmare in the first place. And that's how you know you've released something. Because if you're having a recurrent theme in a dream or a nightmare, you're having it the same as pulling the same card out of a oracle deck. You pull the same card because you're not listening to the message. It's the same with your dreams. If it's a repeated theme, it's because you're not listening, you've not got it. So the more you heal, you don't have to have that repeating dream because you've done what you needed to do. It's done its job. It's made you aware and it's made you release it. Then it can move on to the next issue.
Yeah, and that's where your dream analysis can really come in. So if you're actually looking up the meanings of the general themes, if you're on a bus, look up what does it mean to travel on a bus, what does it mean to get lost on a bus, and it's really detailed some of the information that goes on there. I look at a site regularly with someone called Anti-Flow, and she's got some brilliant information around dreams on there. And she'll give you different scenarios. So it might be moving house, and it might be a question, well, if you were moving house, it could mean this. If somebody else was moving house, it could be this. And she'll give you different aspects of that. But then I find as I'm looking things up, I really start to get a feeling for myself. And sometimes I think, no, that doesn't really relate to my dream. But other times you can sort of say, yeah, that really feels right for me at this time. And there's lots of information on there, so it's definitely worth doing. And like Anita said, keeping a dream diary and writing down some of the meanings.
But that's the same as getting 5 different people's oracle decks and reading the books about what each card means. Sometimes it will mean something to you, but sometimes it is just somebody else's opinion of what that card means. So it's the same with dream analysis. I mean, you get generic meanings. So like if you dream about your teeth falling out, it's a fear of losing money. That's the generic meaning. If you looked it up in lots of different dream analysis books, they'll all say something similar. But that might mean something different to you. Your subconscious might have a different reference point for that. So it might not mean that at all. So this is where you building your intuition is really important, because then you can use your intuition. So what is that message telling me? What am I thinking about this? Does it feel right? Does it resonate? If it doesn't, then it's not right.
It's interesting actually, because that's been sort of a natural development from me. And I suppose I did the same with the cards. Initially, I'd refer to, when I was looking at oracle cards, I'd be looking at the books and finding out from the books to get the general meaning. But the more I did it, the more I started going with my gut and getting the feeling. And I've done the same with dreams, really. I'm looking at the general meanings. But then I started using my own intuition. I became more discerning about what I took from those meanings, until eventually I wake up now, right, what could that be telling me? That's what it's telling me. So I'm not having to refer to the books as much. Or if I'm stuck on something, well, I don't know why that was there, then I'll sort of have a look and get some ideas from that. So, but it is fascinating. There's information.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
It is.
I was just about to say that. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it can really help you overcome any sort of feelings of grief and things like that. Yeah. So for a while, my dad died a long time ago. He died in 2001. And, I've had quite a few dreams over the years where he's sort of turned up and I've been angry with him because he's been missing for so long. And it's like, where's he been? Why haven't I seen him so long? And he turned up now. And the poor guy's come to visit me in my dream, and I'm really angry because I've not seen him. And then I wake up and it's like, oh, that's why I didn't see him. And I was angry with him in my dream, but that's me, my subconscious processing the guilt, and obviously as I started to realise that, the dreams became less and less where I was feeling that.
While you were all talking, I had a visitor. Dexter's staying overnight.
Oh.
And I tried to get him to jump up on the bed without moving. And he took one look at me and walked out. But it's come up the stairs to find me.
Oh,
which is lovely.
It is, yeah. So Brenda's joined us. Hi, Brenda. Nice to see you. We're finishing off our conversation about dreams that we started last week, Brenda. So do dive in and let us know your experiences. Okay. Wow. So has anybody had any dreams lately that have been unusual or?
No, I had one that sticks into my mind was about 5 years ago. and it was about my mum was actually in the dream, funny enough, and we were in this cottage. I don't know where the cottage is. It was just something random. And then I remember opening the door of this cottage, and there was an Indian lady behind the cottage door. So for me, it felt like another spirit guide coming into my life. But my mum was there as a medium as well to actually introduce me. So it felt like as if it was a shared guide, which makes sense now if you think about it, because at the time it didn't. But it now makes sense that if I ever want to contact, at least I can work through this guide to then work, with my mum. So that's the connection. So it's just come to me then, yeah. So it's funny you spoke about dreams today. So yeah, that was really vivid. And the thing that sort of struck me was her eyes were beautiful, like a really, really bright blue. Like obviously Red Indians, they normally have dark eyes, but honestly, her eyes were so like shining blue, and that's what I remember so vividly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And then, like you say, we've got the premonition. I can't say it.
Premonition.
Premonitions. Usually me, that is.
I used to have those. I've had a few of those in the past, but I don't tend to have them so much now. But I have seen it where I've been in a certain place, or I've been in a room in my dream, and then I found myself in it, later on. In fact, that has happened recently, actually, in my Nana's care home, because obviously she moved in at the beginning of lockdown, and due to a fall, and we weren't able to go and see her for a while. And I had a dream about being in this place that I'd never seen before, and it had 2 big rooms in it. And when I did go and see my Nana, I walked in, I thought, this is that place I dreamed about. It's the same place, same decor and everything. So that's quite funny when that happens, quite unusual. And I have been to places as well where I think, I'm sure I've had a dream about that at some point, where it seems familiar, but you don't quite remember the dream. So, and is it premonition or is it astral travel? Does anybody, any sort of ideas or theories around that, or the difference?
I think what you've just explained to us, what I'm feeling, that's more of a premonition to me, because it's you're actually seeing that place. And then it's, then you're relating to it. Astral travel's a bit more focused, I think. You tend to be, I suppose it's like, because the astral travel is at that time. So whereas a premonition, obviously you'll see into the future, whereas your astral traveling, you're doing it at that particular time, aren't you? So when you come back into your body after traveling, you really do feel it. You feel you're buzzing. So there's a different feeling from when you waking up, sort of thing. That's my experience anyway.
So does astral travel feel like a dream if you're there? Because when you're dreaming, you feel like you're there in the dream, don't they?
You can do.
Yeah.
It depends on whether you have purposefully said you're going to astral travel and been conscious that you're doing it. There's a difference between that, and most of us astral travel in our sleep at night. We're just not aware that we're doing it. So you might dream that you've been, I don't know, somewhere in the world. You're thinking you're dreaming about going on holiday, but actually you've actually been there in the middle of the night. So it can feel very similar.
Yeah.
There's a definite feel, isn't there, Jo, when you've actually done that.
You'll know if you're conscious of it, you'll know that because you feel yourself coming back into your body.
Yeah, and the only way I can explain you, Mel, when you're overshadowed and you can feel everything sort of tingling, and that's the feeling that I get.
Yeah, I did have an out-of-body experience once, and it was only once when I was younger, and that felt like electricity running through my body, and then I felt sort of higher up than my body, and I was very aware of everything around me at the time.
Yeah.
So, and then I felt myself sort of drop back down No.
Yeah. That's astral travel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience.
I very was.
I'm just going to leave you for a minute. Oh,
Okay.
just I can hear Dex crying.
Oh,
So when people astral travel, quite often they can meet and have conversations. I know I'm getting really, what's it now? Aren't they with
Mhm.
people? Is that something you two have ever encountered?
I've done it
Yeah.
once. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing.
yeah, it is.
I didn't particularly like it, if I'm honest. Which is why I've only ever done it once. But it was definitely an experience.
I mean,
So-
a few times I remember is actually going, and it sounds strange. You probably think, oh, she's really out of it, you know what I mean? But I remember actually traveling that much that I was actually above the clouds and out of the atmosphere, and I was actually above the earth, just gliding around.
Mm.
It was so real, you know. It was like, I can't explain it to you. Honestly, it's like nothing else you've ever felt before. And then,
Wow.
when you obviously awake, you think you just feel different, don't you?
Mm.
You feel completely different. But I do remember that. I remember that so vividly, that one, because I thought to myself, "My God, what am I doing up here?" And there I am, gliding away. But again, it just shows that your spirit can do it. If you're if you're intense there, you can do anything.
So would it be possible for you, say in your sleep, to go and talk to somebody else and not remember that?
No, not me personally. If I was actually doing that, I would remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I dream so, like I say, so vividly as well.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of information when I'm dreaming. So, but I don't know about the other guys if that would happen to you.
Mm.
It kind of depends on how intuitive you are. So you may, if you're just starting out on your spiritual journey and you don't really know much of anything, you could be having conversations with people in your sleep and not remember it.
Mm. What astral?
The more you develop, the more conscious you are of it.
Mm.
I mean, this will make you laugh, but I can be asleep, and Chris can have a full conversation with me. Seriously.
Yeah.
Have a full conversation with me, and I don't remember a thing about it. But he can actually say to me, "I've had you were fast asleep. I had a conversation with it, and you were answering me clearly." So it just shows you, doesn't it?
Oh, I've done that with my kids. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
And again, that's the sort of, well, how does that happen? Because like, if you're asleep,
Yeah.
how's that working? So it just goes to show that you can do it.
Yeah. The funniest one was when Holly was was a baby. She was only about 2 or 3, and she woke me up shouting at her brother, shouting her brother's name, but really shouting at him. I went in, and what's the matter? When Jamie's pinched me burger. I went, darling, Jamie's in bed, he's asleep. When he has luck. I was grabbed out to show me his burger in his sleep.
Oh.
So funny. I've had a few with her. She has mad dreams, and she really talks in her sleep, and I'm sure she's channeling in her sleep.
Mm-hmm.
My younger sister used to do that as well, and she's very intuitive. When she was a lot younger, you could have a conversation with her, and she wouldn't remember it. But it is like you're channeling, the information. I mean, some of the stuff, like before now, I could be speaking to Chris, and he's very psychic himself. He's very clairvoyant, and the things that he can come out with, because he's just channeling information. He hasn't got a clue what he's saying because it's just coming through. And I'm like, where have we got that from?
Doesn't remember the conversation.
No, because he's channeling that information, so doesn't remember it whatsoever.
Wow.
Holly can say something and it sounds like she's saying a full sentence, but I don't recognise any of the words that she's coming out with. That's really weird.
So it's in a different language form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Might be
but
channeling
it's not
light
like
language.
any language I recognise. Pardon?
Yeah.
She might be channeling light language.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. What would sorry, I'm loads of questions. This is what happens, you see me. You get me on a car. I have loads of questions. So light language, let's move on to light language in terms of what is the purpose? Because obviously people don't necessarily understand light language. So if you're channeling light language, is that like channeling healing, or is it a message? Because quite often we understand things without words, don't we? And
Yeah.
is that how light language comes through? What tell us a bit about that?
I think it depends on your school of thought, because like all of these things in spirituality, you could get 10 different books that tell you about a topic and they'll all say something completely different because it's based on their understanding of what it is. For me, light language is just a universal language of spirit.
Yeah, I mean, like
You've
you
got
mentioned,
angelics will speak in a particular frequency, and that's their language. Spirit will speak in a particular. If we were to hear it, we wouldn't understand unless we speak it and know that language. Like speaking any foreign language, unless we know it and understand it, it would sound just weird, which is what Holly's sentences sounded like to you, because you don't speak that language.
But then why come through somebody to channel that language?
Because somebody will know it, the right person will understand it.
Right.
I do feel like you said before as well, a part of it is about healing. So it's not just about the sort of the vibration of the voice or the words that are coming out, or whatever, symbols that are being spoken. I know it sounds weird when I say symbols being spoken, but they can be,
isn't it?
Yeah, they can be. So for me, it feels like a lot of it is healing. It's healing all of us, some more than others, but again, it's trying to capture, if that happens again, just try and capture a bit of it, just so you could then replay it and see if she would actually respond to it.
Yeah, it's interesting actually why you're talking about that, because I have seen it before where she's been downstairs and she's actually suddenly drawn different symbols that look like light language.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of her gifts that's going to surface when she's ready.
Yes, exactly.
And it's basically a frequency.
Yeah.
It's a frequency. So light language is just another frequency. But it's of the light. So it's a positive.
Yeah. So there's just so much to learn, isn't there?
Yeah. It's
a lifetime, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a lifetime.
Brenda's posted, let's see what she said. I don't dream if I ground myself before dropping off to sleep. When I was going through a traumatic phase and leaving my previous corporate life, I used to have shocking night terrors. I think these were exacerbated by my medication too.
Yeah.
So again, that'll be the fear. So she was changing her whole life because she was stepping away from something that she'd been in for a long time. So the fear attached to that, what the night terrors would have been.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it? Sometimes when you hear it, because you think, when you hear the word night terror, you can imagine the energy behind that. It's so, and just as you were saying it was like for me, because obviously you get more and more sensitive to things. So, but yeah, I mean, everything's a positive for us because we're learning different things all the time. And just one little sort of discipline that we can put in place can help all the things to come to us, so it is a barrier of languages. That, I mean, that's the words I'm getting now. Even it might sound a bit random what I'm saying to you, but the words is that there is a barrier with the languages. So there's got to be an interpreter.
Mm.
And this is what's coming through. So obviously, when you mentioned about Holly before,
Mm.
obviously the connection is there that she has got a gift, and it's to be able to sort of interpret all these different frequencies that she's receiving, or she might see something that someone else has done that doesn't understand what it is, but she will then interpret what it is. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Mm.
Very,
Excellent.
it is. It you know, the thing with dreams, it's such a wide topic, really, isn't it? And it's a lot of it can be, they try and sort of bring scientific reasoning in behind it, but you know, we know that a lot of it is all to do with your subconscious. And then, like you said, there's other sort of aspects of it where you can astral travel, or you can, you know, you can lucid dream, or, you know, there's all different things that we can do. Like you said, Brenda said that about grounding before she goes to sleep. That's a good one, because, you know, if you want to be more focused for the following day, you should always ground yourself anyway, because that is part of your protection process, isn't it? So, you know, by doing your grounding and your protecting, you know, you are looking after yourself when you go to sleep. Because again, we forget that spirit can come, or angelic energy can come when you're sleeping. And it's when you're actually just about to fall asleep as well, when you actually are more sort of aware of anything going on.
Yeah, and your brainwave patterns are in the state to receive. So imagine a radio station and a receiver, and they're receiving that signal. When you're going to sleep, that's the best signal possible for them to come through on that frequency.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that, because it's like a big antenna, isn't it, saying, hey, I mean, cooey, talk to me. I want to receive. Yeah, but it's, I mean, like I say, it is an interesting topic to talk about. You know, you learn so much as well. But it's like anything about these discussions, you learn so much as you're going along, don't you? You know, things that you sort of, it's all right, Saffron's, because the boys have got these Elizabethan collars on, she's growling at them. So, because obviously they don't recognise them, do they? But Saffron's been sat here with us since we've been talking. So she's been sat in the window, just looking out the window, and obviously listening to what's going on. Because again, animals dream as well. You know, they must have some amazing dreams to sort of that they could tell us, you know, in a style. Yeah.
Daisy dreams all the time. And Daisy dreams all the time, but animals have nightmares as well. Daisy's let out the most mournful howls on a couple of occasions when she's been dreaming. You know, it's mad, but a lot of people don't think about animals necessarily having dreams either, do they, or nightmares? But
you watch them and the legs are going, aren't they?
Because they're running, chasing something.
Yeah, bless them. Yeah, like Saffron, she obviously she's a rescue cat, so she did have a bit of a terrible time with her dog. So every now and again, she's very nervy anyway. But when she's asleep, you can see it that she's really. I mean, obviously the nerves shake anyway, because it's the nervous system working overtime. But you can hear her growling. So it's like, ruh, ruh, and it's Saffron. But she's sat here watching. But yeah, it is fascinating. It's you know, I mean, as I'm talking now, I can see lots of silver and just coming through as well, which is, I mean, obviously it's not what I've got to say. It's not grey. It's definitely silver I'm seeing. So it's like a the only thing can explain it to you is it's part of the dream sequence that I'm getting. So just watch out if someone starts talking about something silver in a dream to you in the next week or so, because it just feels like it's going to come forward.
Right.
And that could be anyone that's listening to the broadcast as well. But I can, as I was talking just then, I can just see this load of silver just come towards me, and normally that tells me, you know, it's going to come provident, that something's going to sort of, like someone say, oh, it's a silver such and such, and I'm like, oh, well, it will be a big thing as well. It won't be just, you know, not just a passing comment. It will be quite sort of a, oh, you know, that sort of thing. Excited about it as well. So watch out.
Yeah. So watch out for that, everyone. And if that comes up for you, please do post and let us know, share in the comments.
Yeah.
You know, and I recommend that everybody starts keeping a little bit of a dream diary and just looks for patterns and recurring things, because they really are a clue to what's going on in your life. And sometimes your dreams can provide the answers as well. So they're definitely worth paying attention to. Yeah, see what comes through. Right, so unless anyone else has anything to share, I think we'll round up for tonight, and we will be back with you again next Monday. So do join us, and if you have any questions, please do share them in the group throughout the week, and we can sort of use them as a subject to discussion or answer them on these calls. So thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining us, Jo, Jenny and Anita.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.